Turnpike Sports is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com. Welcome to Turnpike Sports. I'm Dave Weishuttle, and as always, I'm joined by my producer and co-host, Doug Weishuttle. Doug, you know, we're broadcasting from the New Jersey, New York area, and it's been a couple of days since the Brooklyn Nets lost, but people have not gotten it over it yet. So I want everyone in the New York metropolitan area and northern Jersey just to take a deep breath, go outside, enjoy the sunlight of the summer, and, kind of get over it.
You got one more year of these three together. They can opt out after next season.
Yeah,
all three of them can opt out. But I'll be honest with you. I was watching that team off and on throughout the season and the playoffs. The key is keeping those three guys healthy. And if you can't keep any of them healthy in the playoffs, if they're not all three on the court, they're not going to win anything.
I have to tell you, I've had a terrible time not only betting NBA playoffs, but playing fantasy NBA playoffs because I just don't know who's playing, who's going to be hurt. Everyone's a game time decision. I don't know. It's been a challenge.
I have not played any NBA fantasy during the playoffs because all the injuries.
Yeah,
I don't have the time to run back and change my right. Lineup every time somebody goes out. And more often than not, a lot of people were out that I had picked, and I figured I'm stopping. I'm not even doing it. I stopped at the end of the regular season. Too many injuries, and I was glad I didn't because it'd just be a waste of time for me.
We got a great show coming up for you. I'm going to be talking with Bill Miller, President and CEO of the American Gaming Association. He's going to tell us all about the State of the States report that the AGA just released, and also the Have a Game Plan, Bet Responsibly program that the AGA is at the forefront and is really doing great things with responsible gambling. So we have a very special interview coming up. Then after that, we'll have a By the Numbers segment, and we'll also have a Turnpike Sports book report. It's been a busy week in sports, so let's take a trip down the Turnpike. Today's trip down the Turnpike is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using our promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
Exit 1.
Well, to go along with our responsible gambling interview in today's show, we have a responsible gambling first that just happened last week. The Entain Foundation U.S. Has released the first of its kind Gamble Responsibly America app.
Interesting. So what happens on this app? If I download this app, what do I see?
Plenty of things.
Okay.
This is actually kind of interesting because I took a look at it in the App Store. It's available in the Apple Store and also the Google Play Store in English and Spanish.
Great. I love the fact that it's available on Apple and Android because I have Android, and a lot of times when a lot of these apps come out, they're just on Apple first, and then I have to wait a while for Android to catch up. But I'm glad it's coming out in both.
Well, this is a free app.
Okay, great.
No registration's even required for this.
Okay.
And also it's unbranded. You usually see what the app is, what the title of the app is, and then you see who actually is doing it.
Okay.
This is it's the Gamble Responsibly America app. It's put together between Entain Foundation and their partners Epic Risk Management and RG247, which both those companies partner with Entain Foundation for educational projects.
That's great.
So when you actually download this app, you will have access to assets and information to help you gamble responsibly and provide guidance for people who are struggling with gambling addiction. There are a couple key features to the app, and we'll just go through these really quick here because it's a very unique component to a responsible gambling platform.
Usually when you start talking about apps, I have my phone with me, but I didn't bring my phone because I didn't want to make noise during the interview or during our segments or anything like that. So usually I'd be checking this app out as you're telling me, but I can't do it right now.
Well, there is such a thing as a silent feature.
Yeah, I know. I never remember to do that.
Well, we'll go through some of the key features anyway.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it.
Yes. They have limits and tools, which is a section that informs people how they can regulate playing habits, and it has functions that limit deposits on a weekly basis, or it gives the person a timeout. It's a program timeout where you can't sign in to any of your casino or sports betting apps for a certain amount of time. I'm not too familiar with gambling addiction in terms of how it actually works on somebody's, but I'm assuming that's actually very helpful tool for gambling addicted
certainly,
persons.
absolutely, certainly.
Self-assessment quizzes. You can actually take a quiz and understand what your playing habits are and what they should be.
Okay.
In relation to gambling. They have a gambling diary. You can actually input notes on your gambling behavior so you can go back to it and reflect upon it. Which I think that's actually a pretty good tool to have for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
I know a lot of poker players keep poker diaries on their playing so they learn, how to play poker better based upon past experiences. This is probably a tool how you gamble better in terms
or
of
more responsibly
from your previous activities. They have behavioral call-outs. Now, I'm assuming just by reading the press release, this is an alert if you start repeating behavior.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I was wondering what that meant, but okay.
And then they have the live chat feature. It's a 24/7 live chat feature that's hooked into the National Council of Problem Gambling's live chat line.
See, that's great. I mean, you're not alone in what you're feeling and what you're doing. So I think, someone who has that direct access to someone to help them out is a great thing.
And then they have the extensive information and resource section of the app. It's a comprehensive list of additional information and resources, as well as a whole bunch of different videos detailing how to detect and deal with the problem gambling.
Okay.
So this is the first of its kind. It's never been done before, at least in the United States. I know the UK is dealing with a lot of problem gambling issues, but this actually might be the first on both sides of the United States as well as the UK, just a strictly problem gambling app. I know there's a lot of companies that incorporate problem gambling stuff into their apps themselves, but this might be the only responsible gambling app, solely for this purpose.
It seems like it covers everything. I mean,
it's very comprehensive.
Anything someone would want or need, it seems to be there. Well, so good for them. Good for
anyone wants to check it out, even download it. It's probably a great resource to have on your phone anyway. Just head on over to the Apple Store or the Google Play Store, and you'll see and search for Gamble Responsibly America. That's the name of the app.
Okay.
Exit 2.
Going to talk about another first. We got a couple firsts in this week's rundown, as a matter of fact.
All right.
You know how you use your calendar on your phone, for scheduling events and even scheduling tapings for interviews and everything else, as well as reminders for other events and bills and stuff like that on your phone.
Yes, and once again, would be the time when I'd grab for my phone to give you an example, but again, I left my phone somewhere else.
Well, here we go.
There we go again.
This is something you can add into your phone when you have it next time.
Okay.
Clarion Gaming's Ice 365. By the way, Clarion Gaming is one of the best groups out there for educational purposes in terms of events, as well as some of their other gaming conferences.
They have great conferences. Clarion Gaming, they really hold great conferences.
Well, Ice 365 has partnered with esports analytics company Esports Charts to launch a dedicated betting calendar for esports.
Wow. Okay. Now, I'm sure you're going to explain it further, but it sounds like it'd be a calendar on my phone, which I don't have right now, and that would tell me when certain esports events are.
This would not be on your phone.
Oh, it wouldn't be on my
Not
phone.
yet.
Okay.
I'm sure they're going to have a mobile version when they actually physically launch
and when they do, I'll have my phone with me to check it out.
This is actually online.
Okay.
And it is a calendar that sets out all the different upcoming esports events and their impact on betting. It's for both experienced and new esports bettors.
All right.
This is the way they phrased it on the press release. Focus is on any betting enthusiasts who have discovered competitive video gaming as a viable market or have been vested in the vertical for a long time.
Oh, my God. Is that a PR statement? Boy, is that like an internal marketing mumbo jumbo? What? Say, read that again. I love marketing statements like this. Again, read it again.
The focus of the calendar is on any betting enthusiasts who have discovered competitive video gaming as a viable market or have been vested in the vertical for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that is PR speak for esports bettors, new and old.
It'll tell you
new and
when the esport events are and when you can bet on them, right? Is that what we're talking about?
It will provide a detailed breakdown of what each event is about.
All right, yeah.
Along with its prize pools, overall viewer numbers, total hours watched, and other data that is native to esports events.
Yeah. I love it when they use the term verticals.
Oh, no.
That is such a marketing thing.
It's also...
hey, look, everyone, I have an MBA.
Well, also the other phrasing would be scalability.
Yeah.
That's the other PR thing with that, the marketing stuff.
My verticals.
But, and also the calendar will also help gauge the betting value for each event, which is kind of a unique thing to have for a calendar because you can actually schedule how much you're going to bet with some of this stuff or whether or not you will bet on an event. I mean, I'm actually surprised. We cover a lot of esports on the show, and I'm still surprised at the number of events that are out there. So on a very basic level, a non-betting level, having a calendar telling me what events are coming up, when, where, how to watch it, that's a very useful tool.
Does it encompass all their verticals? I don't even know what that means. But did I say it right? No. I wasn't meaning to say it right.
No, you came
all
close.
All the
you
verticals. Look at all the
no.
verticals.
It's just one of those things where it's a tool that I thought would have existed a long time ago. But I guess with the growth of esports because of the pandemic, the more esports tournaments there are, something like this is almost vital.
It seems logical that this would be available. I mean, it's such a great tool. I mean, anyone who's interested in esports and anyone who's interested in betting on esports would love something like this. This is a great tool.
You want to hear another marketing phrase? It will offer the significant betting impact marker for upcoming esports events. Significant betting impact.
Significant betting impact. What was the next couple of words?
Marker for important esports betting options.
Okay.
So basically, it's going to tell you this is an event you should bet on because there's going to be a lot of heavy betting here.
Yeah, you're going to make some money.
Exactly. So first of its kind.
Good.
That's 2 exits, 2 first of the kinds. So we'll see exactly what we have in store. We got one more to go. I'm not going to tell you which one's the next one.
Okay.
Exit 3.
In this exit, Google has given and Google has taken away now. Now, you remember not too long ago, gambling ads were now placed on the Google platform.
Yes.
And also gambling apps were now in the Google Play Store.
Yes.
So now
I downloaded a couple.
Google has gone and banned gambling ads on YouTube.
Okay, Google owns YouTube.
Well, that's one of their platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. And
they have banned gambling ads, and only in a specific spot. I made a generic statement there, but it's in a really specific spot. It's a big spot.
Okay.
Google has announced that will no longer allow the promotion of ads related not just to gambling, alcohol, gambling, politics, and prescription drugs on the masthead slot of YouTube.
So when you say masthead slot, what does that mean? What am I looking at Google when I see the masthead spot?
Well, when you go to YouTube,
all right,
and the very first page you see when YouTube loads, the big ad going across the top.
Okay,
that's gone. So all these categories.
So you're saying no gambling, no alcohol, no politics, no prescription drugs. Did I get all of them right?
That's right. So they have taken their most expensive and prominent ad spot away from gambling, after giving them the Play Store spots and also on their ad platform as well.
I would think alcohol and gambling would, give them the most money, especially in that prominent location. But you know what? Maybe it's a responsible thing that they're doing. I mean, certainly they're not outlawing gambling ads or alcohol ads or things like that. They'll still be on YouTube, but they just won't be on the masthead. Is that what you're saying?
They'll be somewhere in YouTube.
Okay.
On the platform. They'll also be in the
it's not
videos.
It's not across the board ban. It's a ban on the masthead.
It's a ban on the masthead. And this is because after the last year with the false information about the election and also the COVID-19 stuff.
Okay.
Because there were a lot of masthead ads for President Trump, as well as a lot of the COVID-19.
A lot of wacko stuff.
Anything they consider false information.
Disinformation, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That was one of the key reasons why they started restructuring the masthead deal. And they felt it was necessary to actually change how YouTube displays these ads. And they just came up with a system-wide ban on the masthead for these four.
I wonder if gambling, alcohol, and prescription drugs would have been caught up in that if the disinformation wasn't out there and they figured, let's get rid of all the disinformation. And while we're at it, let's get rid of gambling, let's get rid of prescription drugs, and let's get rid of alcohol. So I wonder if, the snowball started rolling downhill and just things got caught up with that.
Well, I think that started it. The disinformation, the constant disinformation that was the masthead was being used. But I think, they did an internal review of adult content on YouTube as well as some of the family safeguards. So I think they wanted to be all inclusive.
Okay, yeah, and
it makes sense.
It's responsible. Okay, I can live with that.
The actual one thing that bothered me about when they did this, and from everything I've been reading, and I didn't even notice it because I run our YouTube channel for the show, it was not a specific announcement. It was introduced inside their policy changes. The terms of use. It was buried in there.
Okay.
They issued new terms of use, and you had to either accept or you got to get off the channel.
All right.
And it was buried in that terms of service.
Okay. All
right. The TOS tossed you out if you didn't agree to all this stuff. So, but again, probably a smart move.
Yeah.
I can't argue with it.
I mean, it's not a wholesale ban. It's just a ban on the masthead. And
you got to be more selective with where you're placing your ads. That's basically all it's going to be.
Sure.
Exit 4.
And here's our last first for the week. The NFL, they just started doing all their sports betting sponsorships. Now they have their first alcohol sponsorship for the entire league.
See, I'm a little surprised at this because I thought for sure I've seen some beer ad that says
beer is not liquor.
Oh, okay.
Don't confuse the two. Two different categories.
All right.
Two different categories.
See, I was painting with a
I was waiting for you to
brush
hit
there.
that one because a lot of people don't realize two different categories. Beer is not liquor.
So beer is not liquor. Okay, because I'm sure I've seen the official beer of the NFL somewhere. But so beer is not considered liquor.
Beer in terms of ad categories is not liquor. Beer is beer.
Okay, well, so alcohol, okay, it's alcohol, it's just not liquor.
See, it falls under alcohol, but doesn't fall under liquor.
Okay, all right. Well,
two different categories within the same area.
Oh, good. I'm glad you cleared that up. Now you can continue with your story, and I can understand it more completely.
Well, the NFL, a couple years back, actually around 2018 when sports betting became when PASPA was overturned, the NFL changed their bylaws to allow gambling as well as liquor.
I like that they're going all in on this, but let's get betting and booze involved.
You got to do it.
Let's do it.
You got to do it.
All right, let's do it.
So what they have done, they have signed on with Diageo as their first liquor sponsor.
Diageo.
The multinational beverage company. Okay. They've got all different brands under their umbrella, but really the deal focuses on 3 of their brands.
All right.
It's going to focus on Smirnoff.
All right, I understand that.
Captain Morgan.
Great.
Crown Royal.
All right, great.
And under Crown Royal, there's another 20 brands that can be brought into this, too, as a matter of fact.
All right.
So this is huge. It's worth $30 million per year to the NFL.
Wow. Now, does that mean, when I've gone to a football game, I think the only alcohol I've ever ordered was a beer. I mean, are there Smirnoffs? Are there Captain Morgan, Crown Royals being sold at the stadium? And will there be now?
See, that depends on the stadium, too.
Okay, all right.
I wish I could answer that question, but I've never thought of ordering a hard alcohol out of this. There's too much drinking going on to begin with.
I've never left my seat at the stadium saying, I'm going to go get a scotch.
No.
It was always, let me grab a beer.
And you know what? You probably still won't. This is going to be pre-game, post-game probably. I don't know how they're going to work all the hard liquor
probably
into.
In the luxury boxes, you can get this stuff.
Yes.
But
well, you always got them in the luxury boxes.
Yeah. But I would guess you can get this kind of hard liquor like in the concession stands.
I would assume you could.
I guess. I don't know. I've just never done it.
Especially the ones that have bars attached to them.
Yeah.
Or in them.
I guess so, yeah. Well, there's enough Smirnoffs, Captain Morgans, and Crown Royal in the, parking lots.
Oh, yeah. But Crown Royal is doing what is it, Major League Soccer, or is it Captain Morgan with the rum commercials that we've been seeing lately? Substitute the captain.
Don't ask me about soccer.
So I'm just talking about the commercials. They're all over the place. Okay. Not even in soccer games.
Oh, okay.
They're outside soccer games. But it's a $30 million per year deal. First deal in the spirits category. That's the other one.
The spirits.
That you got to refer to it as.
So beer isn't spirits.
No. And it's going to be on all the NFL's main marketing platforms, including broadcast, digital, and social media. Right, and also Bloomberg's going to be involved in this in some way, shape, or form because they handle a lot of the social media for the NFL.
Okay.
It's interesting because it looks to be only for the regular season and the playoffs, not the Super Bowl.
Okay, so the Super Bowl is a whole different animal.
Super Bowl was not included.
Doesn't even include this.
No.
Okay.
I'm assuming they're saving that for, you got to buy ad time for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And we got a segment in the By the Numbers talking about Super Bowl ads.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, we have the first spirits advertising sponsorship for the NFL. Congratulations, NFL. You can now drink and gamble on your teams.
And today's trip down the Turnpike was brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using our promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
And as always, you can get in touch with Turnpike Sports by calling or texting us at 609-512-5910. That's 609-512-5910. At Turnpike Sports is the show's handle on Facebook and Twitter. At Turnpike Sports Radio is our handle on Instagram. And as always, our email address is info@turnpikesportsradio.com. And don't forget, you can listen to the show via Spotify, Amazon Music, iTunes, Radio.com mobile app, as well as Stitcher and YouTube. You can also watch us on your smart TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV. Head on over to turnpikesports.net. You'll be able to watch our video channel there.
Well, we got a great show coming up for you. We got a By the Numbers segment. We also have a Turnpike Sports book report. But coming up next, a very special interview. I'm going to be talking with the president and CEO of the American Gaming Association, Bill Miller. We're going to talk about the State of the States report that the AGA just released, and also the Have a Game Plan, Bet Responsibly program, which is a responsible gambling program that the AGA is championing. So stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
During these difficult times, we understand how important it is to stay healthy and safe. With so many of us confined to our homes and not being able to work, we feel the financial burden more than ever. Many folks lost their jobs and businesses. Others were furloughed, and some are working from home at reduced pay. Keeping up with your bills is not easy under these circumstances. If you have credit card debt and cannot keep up with your monthly payments, we at Debt Fix Pros are here to help. Give us a call to see how we can reduce your interest rates and lower your monthly payments. Protect your credit and let us help you find a solution that fits your needs. We, your friends at Debt Fix Pros, are here to help. Let us take care of your credit card debt so you can focus on what is really important. Call for a free phone consultation at 800-919-6011. 800-919-6011. That's 800-919-6011. 800-919-6011. United we stand.
With some of the best promotions and offers in the sports betting market, PointsBet simply stands out. PointsBet is the only U.S. online bookmaker to offer points betting, where every yard, every point, every goal, even every play matters. Same-game parlays, good karma payouts, early payouts, and exclusive game day promotions and guarantees for all sports. PointsBet offers more bet types than any other bookmaker in the world, offering a unique set of markets that aren't available anywhere else. And now PointsBet is offering one of the best sign-up offers in the sports betting market today. New customers signing up with code BET21 receive 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Get up to $500 back if your first fixed odds bet loses, and up to $1,500 if your first points betting bet loses. That's code BET21 for 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000 at PointsBet. PointsBet, it pays to be fast. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Welcome back to Turnpike Sports. In my opinion, one of the most important organizations for the gambling industry in this country is the American Gaming Association. The information, programs, and resources they provide for this industry are vital. And recently, they just released their annual State of the States report on the casino industry in this country, and it is fascinating reading. And to tell us all about it, we have the CEO and president of the American Gaming Association, Bill Miller, on the line. Bill, thanks for joining us.
Oh, Dave, it's a great pleasure to be with you today.
Thank you for joining us again. And like I said, for someone like myself who works in the gambling industry, the information and resources that the American Gaming Association provides allows me to do my job effectively. But for our listeners out there who are not familiar with the AGA, can you tell us a little something about it?
I'm sure. The AGA represents the interests of the gaming industry. We have a wide array of members. Again, we're a membership association, and so we have operators, commercial operators, as well as tribal operators. We have manufacturers and suppliers that are also members of the organization. And we are both domestic as well as, in a limited fashion, international, in that 3 of the operators that we have, MGM, Sands, and Wynn, have rather extensive operations in Macau. And so the organization was founded 25 years ago as an effort to try and stop some federal tax levies that were going to be put against the industry, and we have flourished ever since.
Now, as I said, the AGA recently came out with their latest State of the States report, which has some fascinating information on it. Certainly, we know that the gambling industry has just gone through one of the most challenging times in history, but it was really eye-opening reading this report and seeing those figures. I mean, walk us through some of those figures with us. Give us a sense of what the gambling industry in this country endured as we moved through the pandemic.
Well, I think the COVID impacted every business in America, and we were not spared. In fact, I'd make the argument that, with the possible exception of the cruise line industry, our industry was probably as devastated as any industry in the country. In fact, we have 989 commercial and tribal properties in America, all of which closed in the span of just a few weeks in that period between March and April. I think that casinos lost more than 45,000 business days over that period of time due to the pandemic closures. And in some states, Illinois, Michigan, Rhode Island, and Pennsylvania, they didn't just close down once, but they closed down a second time. And so the damage to the industry, the difficulties that the industry went through, and I don't want to minimize the damage or hurt that other industries had, but our industry was battered. But on the other hand, what we saw was incredible resilience, and I think that's as you referenced the AGA's State of the States report, what you see in there is incredible resilience in terms of, despite being open for, or being closed for such a significant amount of time, that we already have seen in the report, and then really after the report, some extraordinary numbers as it relates to the rebound of the industry.
Yeah, I think the numbers were just incredible during the pandemic as well as the start of this recovery. Do you think how the gambling industry maneuvered through this pandemic is a subject we're going to hear more and more about in the future? I mean, was this such a traumatic event that studies will continue for years to come?
I hope so. I think that, it's important to also remember that, as every industry looked to Washington, D.C., and Capitol Hill and the White House for support, we were no different in terms of relief and stimulus. And as someone who's been in the industry for a long time, you know that the gambling industry, the gaming industry, has not been treated the same as every other business in America. Mm-hmm. If you go back to post 9/11, through Hurricane Katrina, the Great Recession of 2008 and 2009, and Superstorm Sandy. In each one of those cases, the gaming industry, the casino industry, was carved out of and discriminated against as it relates to stimulus and relief. And for the first time ever last year, in the CARES Act, we were included and treated the same as every other business. And my view is that because we're in 45 states around the country, and that legislators, politicians, community leaders recognize the important role we play in the communities, that they saw what we did during COVID and what we had been doing prior to COVID, that we're good community partners and that we deserve to be treated the same as all of these other suffering businesses.
You raised a very interesting point. I mean, certainly during the pandemic, the gambling industry had to adapt and change to get by. I mean, I can tell you, I was a gaming lawyer for 25 years, and I never thought I would have to draft a service agreement for the cleaning and sanitizing of casino chips. Yeah. But as I think more about it, I think that's a good thing, and maybe casinos should keep cleaning and sanitizing their chips. It's a great idea. But has this pandemic changed the gambling industry from here on in? I mean, do you think that some of the things that were put in place during the pandemic will continue as the gaming industry goes through this reopening?
Well, I think that what we've seen During the pandemic, certainly strong growth in sports betting and iGaming. In some cases, when these casino properties were closed, iGaming was a bridge that allowed them to many of these guys to stay afloat. And sports betting has continued to grow as it has become legalized after the PASPA decision of the Supreme Court of May of 2018. We now have sports betting in 19 states, plus the District of Columbia in 2020. And a number of those markets launched in 2020. And so obviously we needed to get sports back on before really sports betting could come back. But we saw strong growth in sports betting, in legal sports betting, from $13 billion in 2019 to $21.5 billion in 2020. So that was a huge increase. In terms of iGaming, also, even though it was only in 4 states, Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia, it accounted for $1.5 billion in iGaming revenue. And so I see those as growth opportunities. And I also see the change in attitudes around some of the operators that held the view that any of these non-brick and mortar activities are at the expense of my brick and mortar property. I believe there's been a adoption of and support for among some of those who really didn't think sports betting was a worthwhile or a important financial endeavor, and that iGaming was something that has now looked at quite differently because of the pandemic. And I don't believe that will change.
I'm glad you brought up iGaming. I live in New Jersey, and I can tell you I can't turn on a television without seeing an online casino commercial. I mean, iGaming has really exploded during the pandemic. Where does it go from here? I mean, has it found a sustainable audience from here on out, or do you think it will fall back to pre-pandemic levels with regard to iGaming?
Well, I think that one thing that's important to remember is we really have to continue, and we do this at the AGA all the time, is press the federal government to recognize the difference between legal iGaming and illegal offshore gaming, and that the success of legal iGaming, the success of mobile sports betting needs to take place in a legal, safe, and regulated markets. But we need help. We need help at the federal level from a law enforcement perspective to ensure that these expansion of opportunities continue in a way that is safe and legal, and that we continue to do everything that we can to destroy the illegal market. And I think we're doing a good job of it so far.
Well, let me talk to you about the iGaming. I mean, I get to talk to a lot of officials around the country and other states, and they were telling me how lucky New Jersey was to have a safety net of iGaming. Is that the correct way to describe iGaming, as a safety net? Is that the wrong frame of mind? Should they be thinking that iGaming is now a viable part of their gambling market?
I think that the way I have characterized it is it was a bridge that helped us sustain the industry in a number of states, both iGaming and sports betting, during a time when we were shut down. And so, but that experimentation also created opportunities for people to look at iGaming differently than they had in the past. And I believe that it will continue to be a component of operators, whether they be sports betting operators or larger or brick and mortar operators that offer this as a component of their myriad of offerings.
You mentioned it, and one thing that has changed the face of gambling in this country is sports betting. And I know sports betting was popular, but after seeing the AGA's report, I'm blown away by the numbers. What has sports betting meant for the gambling industry in this country?
I think importantly, and I say this all the time, Americans have been betting on sports as long as there have been sports to bet on. The question has been, previous to the Supreme Court decision of May of 2018, where do they bet? And in the past, prior to the Supreme Court's decision that opened up sports betting legally in America, what we saw was states recognized that this was an important market, and it was an important market opportunity for their citizens to bet legally, and instead of going to corner bookies or the illegal offshore online marketplace. And so, honestly, I've spent most of my life either in government or advising government, and I've quite frankly never seen anything move as quickly in state capitals as the sports betting efforts have been in terms of going from Supreme Court decision to creating legislation and authorities and writing up regs and opening up the doors of legal sports betting. Quite frankly, I've never seen anything move as quickly. And I think that for us, what we have stressed is, number one, this is a way for us to help destroy the illegal market. And that's good for everybody. It's good for consumers. It's good for governments. And obviously it's good for the industry. And importantly, it's good for the leagues and the integrity of the leagues. And one of the other things that we have done a lot of is a lot of outreach to what I call our new business partners, whether it's leagues, teams, arenas, stadiums, broadcasters, all of which now see monetization in sports betting. But unlike our industry, which responsibility and responsible gambling are core to who we are, they are not necessarily conversant in or have an understanding of the responsibility that comes with the financial opportunities of sports betting. And so we have spent a lot of time trying to make sure our new business partners in this regard recognize the responsibility that they share with us.
I've spoken to a lot of executives in the sports betting business, and they have echoed your statements about how quickly this business has grown since 2018. But they're also very surprised of how the deals were made during the pandemic and how sports betting continued to grow at a rapid pace during the lockdown. I'm wondering what your opinion was. I mean, how has sports betting grown even with the pandemic throwing a roadblock in front of it?
Well, I think legislatures figured out ways to convene. Most of them convened virtually, but they convened nonetheless. And so even though you had legislatures that weren't physically together, you have to remember that it was May of 2018 that this decision was made. Delaware and New Jersey were up within weeks after the decision. Other states recognized that when the Supreme Court when this decision came down, this was an important opportunity for those legislators who have experience in expansion of casino gaming or other types of gaming in their states, and that it was reasonably easy to get them to understand the benefit that could come from them putting forth legislation. And look, we got a lot of these things done in 2019, in the year before the pandemic. But then we still, and for a number of states that weren't able to get it across the finish line, in a number of states, the legislative outlines may have been crafted in 2019 and didn't really require a huge lift to get them across the finish line in 2020.
As we emerge from this pandemic, what do you think we can expect from the sports betting industry? Will more and more states allow sports betting and iGaming and how does mobile sports betting fit into the gambling landscape as we come out of this pandemic?
I think that sports betting is going to continue to grow. I think that we are kind of out of the legislative sessions across the country, with a couple of exceptions. And so we may be kind of at a pause moment for sports betting between now and the end of the year. But I think that we had a number of states that looked at it this year. They didn't quite get there. But some, and every state's a little bit different, as you well know. Some states, as it relates to additional offerings, may require a ballot referendum. Mm-hmm. Some require only legislation. Some require regulatory change. And so all of those things are all a little bit different. But what I can say is, there has been strong momentum. Sports betting has been incredibly well received by the public. I think consumers wanted to be able to bet on sports and know that it was legal, and know that if they won a bet, they'd get paid, and that the proceeds from sports betting can pay for important public services as well. And so I think that it's been shown to be a win-win across the board, and clearly the part that we need to continue to focus on is in the areas of responsibility, and particularly as it relates to, as I said, our new business partners. But we've been doing a lot of work on that front, and I think you're aware of our responsible gambling platform called Have a Game Plan.
Yep.
And that's a public service campaign that we launched in 2019 to educate fans and consumers about responsible sports betting practices.
Tell me a little more about the Have a Game Plan, Bet Responsibly program. What is your goal for this program?
Well, I think, as I've said, we have this shared imperative really for everyone in the sports betting ecosystem, and whether it's leagues, teams, operators, media companies, to educate fans on responsible sports betting. That sports betting should be fun, not a way to pay your mortgage. It's a way for consumers to, in essence, have a game plan when they wager. That we are making good on that commitment to continue to instill responsibility as a principle in every new legal market. And the key principles, there's 4 of them. It's set a budget and stick to it. It's keep it social. Sports betting is a form of entertainment. It's not a way to earn an income. Be informed and learning the details about the games that you're playing, and play with trusted, licensed, regulated operators. And one of the things that's been so exciting is the uptake. And it didn't come quickly. If you well know, many of the leagues were litigants or
yes.
or partners in opposing our efforts to legalize sports betting across the country, and without exception, they've all recognized the change, and they've all recognized that it's been positive. And so, from a business perspective, they get it. And now what we're seeing is we now have these sports leagues partners on Have a Game Plan. We've signed deals with NASCAR, with the NHL, with the PGA Tour, and UFC. And we've got team partners like Monumental Sports that owns the Capitals and the Wizards and the Las Vegas Knights. And we now have operators like FanDuel and payment companies that are all signing up for and want to be part of Have a Game Plan, because once we've educated them to the importance of this, they have recognized it and adopted it.
It's such a great program. I mean, I've talked to the PGA Tour a couple weeks ago. I'm interviewing NASCAR next week, and they're part of Have a Game Plan. And I'm wondering, how is everyone working together to effectively promote betting responsibly?
Well, I think it is. It's a number of different features that different participants in the ecosystem have. And so, if you're a stadium or you're an arena, it might be unused advertising inventory to make sure that responsible gambling messaging comes up on the video boards or it's on signage in and around the arena. For media companies, it's utilizing advertising, television advertising space for those same purposes. And I think for leagues and teams, it is they all have different opportunities to highlight and promote have a game plan, and we're seeing it implemented in different ways. But the most important thing, and the thing that we've said is, look, the AGA has no interest in making any money on this public service campaign. Mm-hmm. What we just want is people to understand the importance of it and to adopt it and to utilize it. We built out multiple different creative concepts for how they could best use it, but then we let them go with it and have them make it their own.
Where can people go to find out more about Have a Game Plan program?
Well, I think that the American Gaming Association.org is probably the best place to learn anything that you'd want to know about the state of the industry, the state of the state reports that we talked about previously. We have a lot of good information about that, and we certainly have a strong section on Have a Game Plan, and on our website.
Well, Bill, right now the gambling industry is reopening and hopefully to almost pre-pandemic levels everywhere. I mean, they've had a fantastic first quarter of 2021. What do those numbers look like for the gambling industry in the new year?
I think that 2021 may well be the best year that the industry's ever seen. And I say that because what we're seeing as we're looking at the first quarter, really the first two quarters beginning to report, is that we're seeing 2019 numbers, and we're not looking at just increases on 2020, but we're seeing, even with reduced capacity, 2019 number. We're seeing 2019 numbers and stronger than 2019 numbers, and I know that we in our State of the State report only covers commercial operators, but I will say that I talk to the tribal guys all the time, and they're seeing the same dynamic that we report on in the State of the State report. And the other really important thing is, if you think about the overall visitor demographics that have been, core to our industry, they have skewed significantly younger during the pandemic. Not surprisingly, it was pretty clear early on in the pandemic that that COVID was particularly dangerous to elderly people, and our industry has long been successful with people that are retired or people that have a little bit more time on their hands to go and enjoy the local casino. And those people, even when things reopened, they have been the group that has been more reluctant to come back. And so our view is, if we're doing numbers with a much younger demographic than previously, and we know that as increased vaccinations happen and people get more and more comfortable, we think that that some of the older customers that have been staples, core to our industry, are going to come back, and capacity is going to increase as it is, month by month, week by week, and that we're just going to see rather exciting and incredible growth for the back end of 2021.
Is that the challenge for casinos going forward? I remember pre-pandemic, I've talked to casinos and marketers, and they were trying to get the millennials in. Now, are they trying to get their core customers, the older customer, back in? Is that the challenge now for casinos going forward?
I think that it's a challenge for all businesses. Mm-hmm. We all went through a year in which was pretty scarring. And if you were an elderly person, and you learned more about COVID, you became more and more scared about going out. And so changing the mentality, ensuring that customers feel safe in casinos. And we do a lot of public opinion work, and I think that some of the things that we've been able to see is that Americans believe that we act in a responsible manner as it relates to responsible gambling, but also importantly to mitigate the risk of COVID and implementing enhanced hygiene procedures and employee testing and screening. And so as we continue to communicate that with those core audiences, my belief is that those core audiences will return.
Bill, we're running out of time, but can you give out your website again so people can keep up to date with the AGA and all the information it provides on the gaming industry?
Absolutely, Dave. I'd be happy to do it. And it's AmericanGamingAssociation.org.
Bill Miller, President and CEO of the American Gaming Association, thank you so much for coming on and giving us an amazing update of the gambling landscape of this country. The report is called State of the States 2021, the AGA survey of the commercial casino industry, and it's a must-read for whoever's interested in the gambling business. Bill, please come back on and keep us updated about what's going on in the gambling industry.
I would be my honor to do it, and I look forward to it.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
No matter what kind of car you drive, we have an insurance policy that's right for you. Need to insure your family minivan? We've got you covered. Need insurance for that new sports car you finally got? We've got you covered. Have an old beater that just won't quit? We've got you covered. Or maybe you hit the lottery and want to insure all your new cars. We've got you covered. Call Auto Insurance for Less to find out how much you can save right now. All it takes is just one call. Answer a few questions, and before you know it, we've got you covered. Call 1-800-679-0366. That's 1-800-679-0366. Auto Insurance. You want it, you need it, and we've got it. Call Auto Insurance for Less to find out how much you can save today. Better coverage at a better price is just a phone call away. Call 1-800-679-0366. That's 1-800-679-0366.
And By the Numbers is sponsored by Play Sugar House Online Casino and Sportsbook in New Jersey. Sign up at playsugarhouse.com/Pike and get a first deposit match of up to $250. Enjoy the casino experience online. Play Sugar House offers over 400 games online, slots, table games, hey, even bingo. It's like being in a casino without leaving your home. That's playsugarhouse.com/Pike to get your first deposit match of up to $250 today. Must be 21 years or older and physically present in New Jersey. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit 800gambler.org.
And welcome to this week's edition of By the Numbers, where we let the numbers tell the story. I pick a couple different numbers from this past week or two that have some significance in some way, shape, or form. I throw the number out to Dave, let him try and guess what we're talking about.
And I'm making an effort to really focus in on the numbers of the news stories this week. I read a lot of gaming news stories, and sometimes I blow past the numbers, but I'm really trying to focus in on the numbers so I do well in this segment. So hit me with it.
You mean I'm making you work?
Well, I'm just, I'm reading them anyway, so I'm really focusing on the number.
First number is 80.
80. There was an 80-cent bet somewhere. Is this the one? Okay, we talked about this earlier in the week, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you told me there. Some guy put in, or some person. I keep saying some guy for
Bet Rivers,
gambler.
Michigan.
I shouldn't be saying some guy for a gambler because women gamble too. So someone put a 80-cent bet on something.
A gambler.
Yeah.
Put an 80-cent bet on the Divine Fortune game.
I love that. I love that game. I joke around about it and say, God, that's like a money machine because you win so often on it. I love Divine Fortune when you play online casinos. So it was. I never did this well on it. 80 cents, and they won what?
The Flying Horses came through and gave this person $431,000, $193.10.
I love it when the Flying Horses come by. What that means is a Pegasus, the flying horse, shows up, and sometimes
it's the wild symbol.
It's the wild symbol, but it shows up, and sometimes it flashes, and then you can see the entire horse rear up, and it's wild for the 3 lines that you're betting. And it's just great.
How you get that?
I probably described that terribly, but that's
it's
what
the
happens.
horse's head in the reel, and then when it lands upon the screen, it becomes a wild symbol where you get another free spin basically while it's on the screen. It goes down row by row until it's off the screen. When 2 of them land on each other, that's when you get the horse.
Okay. Well, it's all the bells and all the whistles that I love seeing, and I get real excited when I hit it. So
I also love,
so that's what happens. 80 cents turned into $431,000. Huh?
Well, remember, there is that one where you get the free spins, and every time the horse does appear on the screen, it becomes the big horse.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. It rears up.
That's probably, how this guy got his $431,000.
Divine Fortune. I love playing Divine Fortune online
I have to admit,
I'm
glad it's not the Wheel of Fortune game again, because we've had a couple of these where it's been that Wheel of Fortune game, whether it's retail or online.
I don't play the Wheel of Fortune slot game a lot, but Divine Fortune I like.
Next number, 100 million.
I'm not sure about this one.
New Jersey's iGaming market has recorded its 3rd straight $100 million month.
That's right. That's right. What I read, it wasn't the exact number. No. It wasn't 100
It's a plateau.
million.
It's a plateau.
It's the level. Okay.
Yes. And actually, a lot of people were kind of concerned what was going to happen with the New Jersey iGaming market because the pandemic restrictions were lifted.
Yep.
They were always wondering whether or not you're going to start seeing a decrease. Listen to these numbers. February, online casino revenue was $93.8 million. In March, they had their record, $113.7 million. And then April was $107.7 million. May, $108.2 million. So 3 straight months of over $100 million in online casino revenue. And all the restrictions are being lifted. And it's nice to see that they may have actually developed a mature market here.
Well, let me tell you something. The one thing about online casinos and in New Jersey is they're never an off hour. Anyone who rides the commuter train to New York or the commuter train to anywhere, when you're in the state of New Jersey, look around you and you're sitting on these trains, people are playing on their phones. I mean, if you have a half-hour commute on a train, guess what? You're playing, you're doing your casino games, you're doing your poker.
If you got a 15-minute coffee break, you can log in and play 10 minutes worth.
That's hey, if you're
in New Jersey anyway.
If no one's looking in your office and you have a computer screen in front
don't
of
do
you,
that one.
I've done it.
There you go. You just trashed all that responsible gambling stuff.
Look, if you have 15 minutes to kill, it's a coffee break. If you want to have a mini vacation.
Lunch break.
You take your sound off of your computer or
your phone,
and you do a couple of spins of Divine Fortune.
Or you know what I've seen some people do?
Someone won $400,000 with 80 cents.
They put their Bluetooth headphones on and let the sound play, so they can keep playing with the sound on.
Okay, that's when you may have a problem if you're over your 15-minute break in your office. But you know what? You're outside and
you don't have to be over your break. You can be doing on your break with the headphones, and so you don't have to shut your volume off. Yeah. You just said before you don't know how to shut your volume off on your phone sometimes.
Well, go outside, take a 5-minute break from the office, and guess what? Take a couple of spins on the Divine Fortune.
Well, we are seeing what probably is the first mature online gaming market.
Oh, I'm calling it sustainable.
Same thing.
Yeah, okay. Well,
same thing. They've had $100 million 3 straight months in a row. I'm kind of curious to see what happens in June. now that Labor Day happened.
Well, the one thing about the
not Labor Day, Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Why do I keep getting those confused? Memorial Day happened, the opening of summer.
One of the things in New Jersey anyway is still every 5 minutes I'm seeing an online casino commercial. So, I mean, they're really marketing hard. I mean, they marketed hard during the pandemic, and they're still going strong. If I see one more Stardust Casino ad in New Jersey, I'm seeing a lot of MGM Casino. I'm seeing
MGM is now starting to hit hard.
Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of them.
But you got to realize a lot of these media buys were done 2-3 months ago, too.
Sure.
So they're running through their term.
Still seeing Borgata. Yeah. I'm still seing FanDuel and DraftKings are talking about their online casinos.
Even
the big thing is the live dealers. That's huge here.
Well, that's also the other thing. Pennsylvania's doing it now too. If you watch some of the Pennsylvania TV, they're almost saturated just as much as New Jersey is.
I'm seeing online poker commercials in Pennsylvania,
Stars,
which is amazing. Yeah.
So, but again, and I can't. I'm assuming Michigan is the same way right now.
I'm not
with
in
that
Michigan,
brand new
so
market.
I don't know. Yeah, I probably.
So I wouldn't be surprised.
Probably.
Next number is 20.
Next number is 20. I do not know.
It's the length of the joint venture between Bally's Corp and IGT.
Really? Okay.
It was signed into law by Governor McKee up there. It is called the Mark Crisafulli Economic Development Act.
Okay.
It's a $250 million economic development plan that proactively protects the state's third largest revenue source, which is the lottery.
Okay.
It will create 1,100 jobs at IGT. It will include extensive renovation expansion to Twin River Casino in Lincoln, and also include technological upgrades. It also includes a clause in here that the joint venture between Bally's and IGT will create a licensed video lottery terminal provider to supply all the gaming machines to the Rhode Island Division of Lotteries. So if you see a lottery machine somewhere, it's going to be a Bally IGT machine.
Okay.
In the state of Rhode Island.
And that's a 20-year joint venture.
Starting July 1st, Bally's will be responsible for owning and leasing 23% of gaming floor machines to the division in exchange for 7% of the net terminal income.
Okay.
And also commencing on January 1st, 2023, Bally's ownership stake will increase to 40%. So Bally's is going to be a major player in Rhode Island, not just casino-wise, but lottery-wise, too.
Great.
Because of this. Next number, and I teased this when we were talking about the NFL deal with the Spirits. $6 million.
Well, if you teased it, it must be the ad rate for the Super Bowl.
The price tag for a 30-second spot.
30 seconds, huh?
In this season's Super Bowl.
All right.
It's the new high watermark for Super Bowl commercials, almost a 10% increase from last year. CBS got $5.5 million for 30 seconds of ad time, and Fox tried for that in 2020, didn't get it.
Okay.
They came close to it, but they didn't get the $6 million that NBC is asking for right now. And also, just for people who don't realize, Super Bowl 56 is slated to be broadcast on February 13th, 2022 from Inglewood on NBC. Now, the interesting thing about these deals that they're offering advertisers, you know how the most prominent spots are either the very first commercial or any of the commercials in the first quarter?
Yeah.
NBC has been telling advertisers, if you want a guaranteed prominent spot, whether it's first quarter, whether it's the first commercial of every commercial break at the beginning of every quarter, that sort of thing, you have to buy an equal amount of ad placement for the Olympics.
Okay.
They're tying it in with the Olympics.
All right. You're really tying it in. I would think that the worst commercial spot for the Super Bowl would be like in the third quarter somewhere, like halfway through the third quarter. Is that like one of those? Is it still $6 million for halfway through the third quarter, or what?
The worst spots supposedly are the beginning of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, you know what? Everyone's running either to the bathroom or to the kitchen.
because no one wants to miss the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, to get ready for it. So, yeah, well, technically it is the third quarter, that kind of area.
Okay,
right,
so
right
end
before,
of third, beginning of fourth.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Right before the fourth quarter, that must be the worst, because that's when everyone's stretching their legs, that's when someone's getting a drink, that's when someone's going to the bathroom, so they can watch the fourth quarter completely.
Well, it's one of those things where I think a lot of the viewers, especially the non-football fans, stop watching after the halftime show. So any time in the second half is worse than the first half, I think.
I'm trying to think of it was the weekend.
Yeah.
The halftime show. Okay.
Yes. And it felt like an entire weekend watching that show,
right.
that halftime show. It was great. Don't get me wrong. Everyone loved it, all that. I'm not a fan of halftime shows. I would actually rather them have a normal-size halftime and just get them back on the field and continue the game.
Yep.
But you got to have some kind of spectacle along with the Super Bowl. It's kind of expected now. Last number for the week, 5.
5.
I'm all over the place with these numbers.
Wow. Yeah, no, I 5 is... I'm not even thinking in the single-digit mode. What's 5?
In a survey published by TickPick, an online marketplace of 1,000 U.S. sports fans, TickPick has uncovered that 5% of fans have purchased sports NFTs over the past year.
Non-fungible tokens, right?
They rear their ugly heads here.
Wow, boy.
Not in the rundown, but in
I thought we were going to have a show not mentioning non-fungible tokens.
You thought we were going to be NFT not. Free?
Yeah, boy. All right.
5% of all fans have purchased sports NFTs over the past year.
So is that good? I mean, is that on
it's
target?
Good for the NFT market.
I guess.
That's more so than in previous years.
Were they hoping more fans? Well, certainly they're hoping more fans would purchase NFTs.
According to the survey, 1 in every 10 sports fan has purchased an NFT.
Well,
that is a sustainable market share right there.
Well, it's still brand new,
yeah.
So I'm sure it'll catch on.
And in addition, it was found that 18% of these fans have also purchased sports trading cards over the past year.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, sports trading cards is more traditional.
They're still spending more on sports trading cards. The average fan spends $350 on average on sports trading cards versus $260 on average for an NFT.
Okay, yeah. That might change. That thing may flip in the coming years when NFTs become more known and more accepted and things like that.
I would actually love to see this survey because there's 2 other numbers here that I found very interesting. The study also added that over 1 in 5 people would buy a property near a sports stadium if they struck it rich on Bitcoin.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I'd buy next to a stadium.
I don't think you like the traffic and everything. I think you're assuming you're going to go to every game. Is that what they're talking? Is that what they're thinking about?
I don't know. But me personally, I mean, when that hit me there, that number, I kept thinking Meadowlands. I kept thinking Xfinity Center. There's just too much stuff around there. I would not want to live around that area.
Well, I think if you lived in Brooklyn, you can walk to the stadium for the Brooklyn Nets or something like that kind of thing. But look, how about New England and Foxborough? Traffic is terrible.
You can't get around. You can't get around. Game. Well, there's also nothing around that stadium other than that mall there, Patriot Place.
Yeah.
And it's on a decent road. Was that Route 1 in Foxborough? Yeah.
But I mean, Philadelphia. I mean,
I don't know.
There's expensive property in the city.
I just couldn't stand living next to a stadium. To be honest with you, anyway.
If you're in the city, the traffic's going to be terrible anyway. If you're in the countryside, like in Green Bay or Foxborough or something like that, you don't want to deal with that kind of traffic.
Green Bay might be different.
Well,
it also would mean your roads would get plowed more if it's near the stadium.
Probably
in Green Bay.
So.
And the last number I found in there was 17% of NBA fans would pay 1 Bitcoin to attend the NBA Finals this season.
Okay,
I guess that's what, $40,000.
Yeah, probably.
I haven't been tracking Bitcoin. It's been up and down. I know a couple of the other ones have been hit hard lately, which is kind of interesting. But I'm not into the Bitcoin market yet. All right, that's it for this week's By the Numbers.
The book report's coming up next, so stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
Are you paying too much for your health insurance? Are your deductibles too high? Or are you completely uninsured? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Healthcare Help Desk can help you now when people need help the most. Health insurance laws and rules have changed. If you have Obamacare, are uninsured, or your premiums are too high, call Healthcare Help Desk. It's free. New healthcare plans are available, and you may qualify for dental coverage and lower copays and deductibles. Make the free call now. Top quality coverage at the lowest prices anywhere. You may be paying too much and not even know it. In these troubled times, healthcare is more important than ever. Don't let another day go by without health insurance. Policies are being offered with very low copays and deductibles. So if you're uninsured, underinsured, or paying too much, call Healthcare Help Desk.
800-329-7906. 800-329-7906. 800-329-7906.
It's getting warmer outside, and the action is really starting to heat up on the tables at Party Poker in New Jersey. Sign up with code EXIT7A and take advantage of Party Poker's new sign-up offer of $25 free, plus a first deposit match up to $600, and start playing poker online today. Daily tournaments, cash games, sit-and-goes. The Party Poker U.S. network offers players an opportunity to participate in their favorite poker tournaments online every day, all day. And don't forget about their Sunday tournament featuring $35,000 in guaranteed prize money. So head on over to nj.partypoker.com and sign up today with our promo code EXIT7A. New customers get $25 free when registering, plus you also get a first deposit match up to $600. That's code EXIT7A to get your $25 free when registering and your first deposit match up to $600. The cards are in the air at partypoker.com in New Jersey. Must be 21 and over and located in New Jersey. New patrons only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Free stuff is awesome, but free stuff that will spice up your bedroom is even better. Just go to adamandeve.com and select almost any one item for 50% off, and then we'll load on the free stuff. Just enter this very exclusive code, BABE16 at checkout, and you'll get 10 tantalizing free gifts, including a sexy item for him, a special toy for her, and a third item you'll both enjoy. And 6 extra special bonus items that are sure to rev your engine, pique your curiosity, and even blow you away. Plus, free shipping! Always sent in discreet packaging. Go to adamandeve.com now. Get 50% off plus the 10 free gifts when you enter the exclusive offer code BABE16. That's BABE16, because without it, no free stuff. That's BABE16 at adamandeve.com.
More bets, better odds at PlaySugarHouse.com. Sign up today at PlaySugarHouse.com, and don't forget to use our promo code PIKE to take advantage of their first deposit match up to $250. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. The Turnpike Sports Book Report.
The Turnpike Sports Book Report is brought to you by BorgataSports.com. Your favorite casino is now your favorite sports book. Available anywhere in New Jersey, BorgataSports.com. Sign up at BorgataSports.com using our promo code PIKE, that's P-I-K-E. Make your first wager of $20 or more, and you'll get $100 in free bets. That's $100 in free bets when your first wager on Borgata Sports is $20 or more. Get into the action with BorgataSports.com. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And welcome to this week's book report, where we're going to be talking a couple of the state reports that have just come out for May of 2021. We've got a couple launches, we've got legislative updates, and we got a lot of deals to talk about. Before we get to the numbers, I thought we'd start this time with the launches.
Okay.
We got a whole bunch of different types of launches here, not just books and online books, but we also got some different apps being put together here, and also coursework.
Coursework.
Yes.
Homework, huh?
We're going to
betting homework.
I'm going to start with that.
Okay.
UNLV's International Center for Gaming Regulation.
Sure.
They launched a series of online boot camps focusing on sports betting and regulatory matters.
Okay, good.
I mean, really kind of interesting stuff to see UNLV doing these types of course material.
Now, is this for college credit? This is actual, curriculum, right?
No, this is for anyone who wants to participate.
Okay, all right.
Sessions range in price from $595 to $1,400.
Okay.
Classes are done by Zoom, and they're going to have a 25 to 35 member cap on it, I guess is the way to phrase it. They had one already, the Casino Investigation, Security Law, and Policing, and 2 others on sports betting. One is going to address the principles of sports wagering, including policy and operations.
Okay.
So, sort of like what I hate to compare these two because they're not really comparable. Remember BetFest?
Okay, yeah.
Where they had Sports Betting 101, and then they had some of the other
more in-depth studies.
So they're basically taking that and putting into a more formal coursework kind of study.
Okay, all right.
So check it out. Go to UNLV's Gaming Center.
Sounds very interesting.
Yeah. So UNLV is the leader in all this stuff, so it's great to see them doing this.
When I was in college, I wish they had courses like this. I would have taken those.
I probably would have.
Being a gaming attorney, they would have been really helpful.
I was engineering, so it kind of didn't. There was some cross pollination. There was no cross pollination there between my coursework and that kind of stuff. Although I did manage to get TV in and all that other stuff.
Okay.
Kindred Group. Now we talked in Exit 1 of Turnpike about the Gamble Responsibly America app.
Yes.
That was released by Entain Foundation.
Yes. Yeah.
Kindred Group launched Better Time, which is a separate app from what their sports books are and their casinos are, and it does pretty much similar stuff. It doesn't go as in depth in terms of there's no resources for problem gambling. There's no hotline attachment to it. It's an app that allows you to control your gambling.
Okay.
You can set limits, you can do timeouts, just like
Great.
the Entain app, that sort of thing. So we got dueling apps almost. I think the Entain one has a little bit more problem gambling focus, but this one is so that their goal for Kindred in the UK is to go 0% revenue from problem gambling. Mm-hmm. So that's designed to do that.
Great.
Now we got a couple sportsbook launches to talk about in Iowa, Unibet and Circa.
Yeah, they were given the green light, right?
They were given the green light. Circa has said they're shooting for August. That's a tentative situation there. Because I know a couple of the other books had set out launch dates when they first got their go live authorizations, and they were delayed. But Circa seems to be pretty much on the ball with this stuff. And their books are actually really, really cool. And they do a great job with this stuff. Unibet, same thing. Let's see what they do.
Okay.
Over in Jersey, we've gotten word that Superbook USA is going to launch in the next month on the Meadowlands license.
I can't wait for that. I love Superbook. I actually met a bunch of those guys.
Jay Cornegay.
Yeah, I forgot where they were. I think we were in Boston in a convention in Boston.
It was the ICE USA or ICE North America, whatever it was, back in what was it, 3 years ago? Yeah.
It was. I think of Superbook every time I charge my phone because they gave us phone chargers, phone batteries, or whatever you call them. They're the
battery
the square
packs,
thing,
battery
the batteries that charges your phone up. So I think of them every time I need my phone charged.
Well, they're going to be coming. So under the Meadowlands license, you're going to have FanDuel, PointsBet, and Superbook. That's a great pairing or tripling or whatever.
Now, look, I know I'm very curious. They made no announcement of it, but Superbook has this great contest.
The football contest.
Yeah, the football contest. Is there any chance that could happen in New Jersey?
I don't know. They've already opened it for Nevada.
So, I'm seeing a lot
and
of that.
Also, they lower the price to get in, all that.
Okay.
They've done some tweaks to it that make it actually more appealing for more people to go. They were setting records last year for attendance and how much money was going in and out, that sort of thing. But no word on whether or not they're going to bring it to Jersey this year if they launch.
Okay, all right, but I'll be looking for that. So,
Penn National. We keep talking about Barstool Sports everywhere and the Barstool Sportsbook.
I can't wait for them to come to New Jersey.
I found that hard to believe when I read the announcement that this is going to be the first retail Barstool Sportsbook in Pennsylvania. Going to be launching sometime in August again. Okay. Hollywood Casino, York. which is out in the upper, if you're looking at a map, it's the upper left corner of Pennsylvania.
I'm sitting in New Jersey. I've heard of York, Pennsylvania. I have no idea where York, Pennsylvania is.
The only thing I know about York, Pennsylvania is that band Live came from York, Pennsylvania. That's about it.
That's a throwback,
yeah.
Huh? With 90s?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only thing I know about York, Pennsylvania.
York, Pennsylvania.
Other than now they're getting a Barstool branded sportsbook.
Hey, good for York, Pennsylvania. We're in New Jersey. We don't have Barstool yet.
And there are two other casinos that Penn National runs, the Hollywood Casino in Grantville and the Meadows in Washington, Pennsylvania. They'll also carry a Barstool book.
Once again, I have no idea where Grantville and Washington, Pennsylvania is.
Well, the Meadows,
I've heard of the casinos.
Yeah.
I just don't know the actual location of them.
Well,
I got to look on
time to
a map.
learn. Time to learn.
Yeah.
May have to visit a Barstool sportsbook.
That's the great thing about casinos and gambling. You learn geography. Look at that. Well, in my case, I learned geography because I'm going to look up where York is. I'm going to look up where Grantville is and Washington
Ancillary learning.
There you go.
One other launch. It's sort of a launch. Michigan. They removed the restriction on betting on subordinate developmental leagues.
Minor leagues. Is that what you're talking about?
That's
Minor
the
leagues?
phrasing.
Really?
Subordinate developmental leagues.
Didn't I just talk about marketing talk? Marketing speak is that. What was that? Subordinate
developmental
leagues. Yeah. Minor leagues.
Yeah.
Just say minor leagues.
I'm
not
going
talking
by
to
what
you.
they said.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about the marketers.
Now
things
that's not to say you can start betting on minor league baseball or anything like that. Everything will be done on a case-by-case basis. If a book wants to carry some sort of sport, some sort of event in the minor leagues or in the developmental leagues, they have to apply for the Gaming Control Board in Michigan to allow betting on it.
I for me personally, I'd be very hesitant about betting on like minor league baseball. You bet on a team. What happens if they call some guy up or move someone down because they have some guy's rehabbing from an injury and, you have to take stuff out. So you just don't know. Those lineups aren't as set as the major leagues. So for me, I would hesitate betting on a minor league team.
I would assume there's something in the rules on the sports books where they have a situation where they can deal with something like that. Whether they void the bet or they treat it as a loser, they treat it as a winner. I guess every book is going to handle that situation differently, but that does happen a lot.
For me, that's an issue.
How about if it's the other way? You bet on somebody in the major leagues and he gets sent down. I wonder how they treat that.
Yeah,
one.
But you kind of have a little more warning than that. You have a little more.
Sometimes it happens really quickly, but most times you're right.
And if they're sending them down, that player is not performing well, so they're sending them down for a reason, either an injury or usually not performing well. So you kind of have some idea of what's going on.
You get a little run-up before it happens because you can notice it, I guess.
Yeah.
Going over to some of the numbers, we had a whole bunch of states release their May numbers: New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York. New York, again, does not report handle. They just report revenue. Mississippi also released their May numbers.
I'm going to make a prediction. Once New York gets mobile sports betting, they're going to report their handle because it's going to be huge. New York is going to be huge.
Well, that's press release worthy. The handle, more so than anything else.
The handle in New York for mobile sports betting will be enormous.
Well, I know the guys over at US Bets did a Freedom of Information Act with New York.
Okay,
and got the handle numbers.
Okay, good.
So if you want to check it out, US Bets has a great article.
What is it? USBets.com.
USBets.com. They have a great article on the overall handle for the New York market. Matter of fact, I threw in a couple notes from it into the book report. You can take a look at it when it prints out or gets up onto the blog after this segment airs. Pennsylvania released their May numbers. Also, Mississippi, Washington, D.C., and Michigan also released May numbers for Michigan online sportsbooks. Pennsylvania, let's start there.
Just go to the blog and look at them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, we're going to talk about a couple of them, too.
All right.
But in the time allotted.
Yeah, well, we're we have a time constriction here.
Yes.
So.
Pennsylvania, let's start there. And the big thing for Pennsylvania, they had passed the $5 billion mark for its statewide handle in Pennsylvania.
See, that's why New York is going to start talking about handle. I'm predicting, because Pennsylvania, boy, what great press they're getting for this. I mean, $5 billion. What was it? The first 11 months?
Yeah, it's not even a fiscal year
report. Their fiscal
year,
yeah, it was like over like $5.3 billion.
$5.2 billion.
$5.2 billion.
Yep.
Okay.
Handle was $5.2 billion. The revenue was $398.2 million. That's the gross gaming revenue.
Okay.
The taxable revenue, and I found this kind of interesting, this number. The taxable revenue, you have to get rid of all the promos and the credits, $274.6 million. There's over $100 million in credit there.
Sure.
So I guess somebody's going to have to do a study to see which state gives out the most promos.
Yeah.
Because that's a huge number. State tax, $93.7 million. The local municipalities got $5.5 million out of that $93 million. But their statewide total handle for May was down from April. And you're starting to see some states in May have a rise. Some states go down. Pennsylvania went down in May. $447 million. $407 million of that coming from online, so 91% of the handle. Again, states looking to do launch your sports betting, you got to look at online seriously.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, Mississippi still resists it. They have no online industry to speak of.
Well, you know what? They want people going through those doors.
Yeah.
So of the casino. So.
But speaking of Mississippi, I'm going to flip over there just as I just mentioned it. They had an increase of almost 10% in handle between April and May.
Great.
$36 million in May. Their revenue was down from $4.3 million to $3.9 million.
That means a lot of people are winning in Mississippi, right?
Well, the April hold was 13%. The May hold was 10.75, just under 11%. So that explains the revenue. And, it's kind of weird to see handle go up, but revenue go down. But that's where you got to look at. The bettors were doing better.
Yeah.
That's a good way to say it. Bettors doing better. New York, let's talk New York a little bit. As I said, they only report the revenue. Total revenue in May was $1.6 million. And remember, it's only 4 books. Mm-hmm. Over the northwest corner.
Yeah, it's upstate New York.
Yeah. But their revenue went up 23% from May. And one of the few states that showed an increase between April and May. New Jersey, hopping over to them. And I'm sorry for flipping around, but I just wanted to hit some of the highlights here. New Jersey's May sports betting handle was $814.27 million. I mean, whenever you talk New Jersey versus the other states, you always expect New Jersey at least $800 million.
Well, you know why? Because a lot of people come over from Manhattan and bet in New Jersey, so that's why.
Take another shot at New York.
Well, here? I'm just saying that's why New Jersey's a little nervous when New York gets its online sports betting ready to go.
Well, the Meadowlands license, we just talked about that with the launches. The Meadowlands license right now is FanDuel and PointsBet. They contributed 65% to the overall sports betting revenue in the state.
Okay.
Resorts license, which is DraftKings, came second, and Borgata BetMGM was third. They had a 7% share. So everyone's pointing this out, too. Baseball was huge in May. $326 million in handle.
Well, look, a lot of the, a lot less things to bet on in the other sports. Certainly have the NHL, the NBA playoffs, but there's a limited amount of teams.
Well, baseball was first in New Jersey, then basketball, which was $217 million.
There's a lot more games in baseball to bet on.
Yeah, and parlays still $81 million in handle. So. Go figure on the people love betting parlays.
I like them too because you win big. I mean, you don't win often, but maybe once a week I hit a good parlay. I mean, well, it's not on a daily basis, and it's sometimes not even on a weekly basis.
I've actually been trying to.
You're doing those single game
parlays, 3 and 4 leg. I've been doing pretty good on them.
Yeah,
but I've not been taking what the books have been. Right out the top ones. I go and dig in and see what actually makes sense to me to put some money on, and it's a good way to build the bankrolls.
You do the adjusted lines, right?
I do some of the bands, player bands. Player X is going to score 20 or more points, or 25 or more, depending on the odds change when you go through those. And I take a look at what makes sense to me, because a lot of the playoffs, you don't know if the guy's going to play the entire game. Some of these guys will get hurt mid-game and taken out.
Yeah.
And you're kind of screwed if you do the, what was it? Giannis was always doing 30, over-under for Giannis's points were 37.5 at times, 34.5. Sometimes he didn't even make 34 points, but, I felt more comfortable choosing the alternate bands than what the player points were given by the books right off the bat. Washington, D.C., total sports betting handle was about $13.8 million. That's up almost 30% from April. And you got to look at maybe the opening of the book helped in Washington, D.C., in the Capital One Arena.
Sure.
Online sports betting gross gaming revenue for William Hill in D.C. was about $1.4 million, down 11% from April. Gambit was $637,000. That was up almost 20% from April. So Gambit got some traffic there, too. Moving over to some legislation, we had, and I don't know how to explain Ohio anymore.
Yeah.
Every time they go in for a committee meeting, they come out with a different bill. And this last one,
Ohio,
they added a new class.
Yeah, I'm giving up on. They're just, they keep moving the goalposts and things like that.
They added a new class. They actually pushed back the date to April of 2022 for launch. And it's just, I don't know what's going on there. They're listening to too many people. There's a point where you got to shut off your ears and just get the bill done.
Yeah.
And then you can amend it down the road.
Yeah, you can change it as you go along.
But they're trying to make everybody happy right at the start. And I do understand that. You got to make your constituents happy. But come on, there's a time when you got to just cut it off.
I think Maine is closer to starting sports betting than Ohio.
Well, they just passed their bill.
They need the governor to sign it, right? But they're very close.
They put tethering onto it.
Yep.
So the online industry has to be tethered to a property in the state of Maine. So give that some time. And again, Maine was the one that had it all passed and ready to go, and the governor vetoed it. And the governor still has said she doesn't see anything to change her mind so far.
Yeah, but, there's this thing in certain states where the governor doesn't have to sign it, and the governor can just let it go into law.
She did not.
Well,
it was all set to go. They were going to have it, and she at the last minute vetoed it.
Okay.
And I have a feeling that may be what's going to happen here again. We'll have to see. Two other things. New Jersey, the ban on in-state college teams. The Appropriations Committee in the Assembly voted 11-0 in favor of it. A similar bill is going to be on the Assembly this week, and they could even have voted on it by the time this airs. But right now it looks like it's going to go to the ballot in November.
Yeah, so voters can vote on that during the general election in November.
And I'm just going to say one thing about Massachusetts. What the hell are you guys doing?
I don't know.
They had an entire day's conference talking about all the different bills. I think they had like 20 bills to talk about, and they really got nowhere. They did nothing with the bills. The consensus is there is no consensus because the Senate doesn't know how to agree upon where the money's going to go. Every senator has a different idea of where the money's going to go, and that's the problem.
It's amazing. Massachusetts is the corporate home for DraftKings.
Yeah.
And there's no sports betting. So, actually, there's not even poker in Massachusetts, so I don't think why we would think sports betting would even get going in Massachusetts.
And one last quick note regarding legislation. Remember a while ago, Chickies and Pete's was talking in Pennsylvania?
Yes, crab fries. Love the crab fries.
Was talking about trying to get a sports betting set up in their restaurants.
Yeah.
The Philadelphia Zoning Board of Adjustment has denied their application.
Oh, okay.
Board voted 4-1, and this was on June 9th, so it's a while ago, preventing the restaurant chain from proceeding with its plan to allow Parks to move its off-track betting site, the South Philadelphia Turf Club, into the restaurant.
Wow, okay.
So no sports betting at Chickies and Pete's just yet.
We were just talking about Chickies and Pete's in Parks because they had the greatest happy hour promotion. They still, I don't want to say that because I don't know. I haven't been back.
Well, the restaurants do. I don't know about the one in Parks.
Yeah, they used to have a $5 pizza,
tomato pie.
Well,
For those who are listening, there are two different things. There's tomato pie, and then there's pizza.
It depends on if you put the sauce on first.
Yeah.
If you put the sauce on second, they call it a tomato pie.
Yeah.
So, but they had a $5, regular size tomato pie or pizza for $5 during happy hour. It was great. I don't know if they still have it, but I like Chickies and Pete's. Chickies and Pete's is in Parks. There's a freestanding one in Bordentown, New Jersey. I'm sure there's a bunch in Philadelphia where they come from.
There's one in Tropicana.
There's one in Tropicana in Atlantic City too.
Yep.
So
that's a good one too.
Love Chickies and Pete's.
Let's see, a couple deals to talk about before we get out of here for the week. WynnBET did a deal with the Cincinnati Reds. Marketing efforts. There's no betting in Ohio, obviously. We just talked about that. And I don't know when they're going to get. This is for the Cincinnati Reds fans in Indiana. They're going to be doing the normal promotional games and offerings in Indiana where WynnBET's legal.
Okay.
Action Network, they just did the deal with Major League Baseball. They did a similar deal with the National Hockey League for the playoffs.
Okay.
Content on the site. In exchange for really good product placement on NHL.com for Action Network. Genius Sports just did a long-term deal with the Professional Pickleball Association.
Pickleball. All right. I'm hearing a lot of pickleball.
Well, it's like a tennis offshoot. Then, and I'm actually going to try and see exactly what they're doing because obviously.
Well, you contacted them for an interview, right?
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
See what happens.
But Genius Sports.
I don't know much about pickleball.
Genius Sports will be doing the data and live stream, data rights and video broadcasts from over 1,200 of their matches per year under this deal. Now, I didn't know this. The PPA Tour, which is what they did the deal with, the Professional Pickleball Association, 16 events across the United States in 2021. Over $1.5 million in prize money is at stake. They're going to have 20 events in 2022 with over $2.5 million in prize money that year, and they're actually growing, and it's kind of fun to watch this because I really think you're starting to see sports betting not only grow as an industry in the United States, you're seeing sports betting grow some of the sports in the United States as well as around the world too. Who knew table tennis was going to take off like it did? Obviously Colorado did.
I have to check on this commercial because I think I heard it in a commercial. It was for Little Caesars. It was the commercial where the guy's sitting at his desk and eating the pizza, and another guy's in the doorway saying, "Is this going to be trouble for us?" And he's going, "Uh-huh." And he's like, should we be worried? Uh-huh. And then the guy in the door says, "Are we still on for pickleball at 4?" And he said, uh-huh. So I believe pickleball was mentioned in Little Caesars commercial. I will check.
That's actually great TV watching on your part there.
That's very, very astute of me.
A couple other things. Fox Bet brought on David Ortiz as a analyst for the site. Mm-hmm. They're also going to feature him in the Fox Bet Super 6 contest. They're going to have Win Big Papi's money.
Okay.
So they're going to be...
Didn't they do win Terry Bradshaw's money for football? So it's win Big Papi's money for baseball. All right.
Bally's completed the acquisition of Jumer's Casino from Delaware North over in... where is this?
Illinois,
I'm sorry. I couldn't find it in my notes there.
I just found it, yeah.
Let's see. The price was $120 million. It gives them additional access for sports betting in that state as well. So they're expanding their footprint. And we'll end on Chalkline. Chalkline Sports, Kostelski's group. Very good group with the free-to-play games. Some of the smartest guys you'd ever want to run into in the industry. They did a deal with the Northwoods League to do a free-to-play sports betting app, the NWL Lucky 7 for the league.
Okay.
Now, I took a look at this league. It's kind of interesting. It's a baseball league. It's a developmental league.
Okay.
As we were talking about there. And they have two divisions, the Great Lakes Division and the Great Plains Division. Mm-hmm. So you know where they're at. They're in the Midwest.
Yeah, I think games like this are great, especially for developmental leagues or minor leagues, because you know what? When you play these games, you get to know the players because you start following these players. So I think it's great. I think it's great promotion for the Northwoods leagues.
Two things about the Northwoods League I thought was very interesting.
Okay.
Number one, they stream all their games And you have to buy a subscription to it.
Okay, all right.
Which that helps the league make money.
Hey, whatever makes them
keeps
money.
the league afloat.
Yeah.
And the other thing is they have their own custom beer that they sell at all
that's
the
pretty
ballparks.
cool. All right,
they have 5 Tool Ale. It's a cream ale.
Okay.
That they sell to 21 years and older at all their ballparks. Right. It's custom made for the league.
Great.
Which I haven't seen too many leagues do that.
So what's it's a chalk line free to play game. What is it called?
NWL Lucky 7.
Okay. All right.
And that's it for the book report. Whatever we didn't have a chance to cover on air, it's in the book report print version, which is on the Turnpike Sports blog, turnpikesportsradio.com. Click on the blog button. That'll be posted soon after the actual audio of this publishes.
And that'll do it for us this week. We'll see you next time on the Turnpike.